Welcome to joy. Welcome to living in joy. And if you're not living in joy, you are at the right place. So, this is a class, a three-part series, which can be done all together if you have the time on a weekend, or you can break it up into three different modules. We will break it up into three modules so that you can complete one before you start the next one. And welcome, welcome. I'm so pleased that you joined us. I want to just explain that the universe always says yes. So whatever you put out there, the universe says yes. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't care. And so this class is really to help you to create what you want and live the life you want instead of what you don't want. And your intuition is the purest connection to your soul. And so when you follow your intuition, you never make a mistake. It always leads you where you not want to go, not where you don't want to go. And I've had so many personal experiences where I have listened to my intuition and it's helped me immensely. And then I've had situations where I didn't listen to it and I suffered the consequences of trying to scramble out of a situation which was totally unnecessary. So one of the things that is important in creating what you do want, you have to love where you're at. And I just want to give you an example of that. When I was a single mom, I was cleaning houses, and I chose to do that so that I could be available for my daughter to pick her up from school and to go to different things at the school. However, I didn't love it most of the time. And when I really started to study and to really work on myself and what I wanted, I had to love cleaning houses. And so I actually got to love it. It was like a walking meditation because I cleaned the same houses every week or every 2 weeks. And so I kind of knew what I was doing and I was in the flow of things, and it was very mindless. And it was like a walking meditation, as I said. And so information would come to me. And sometimes I would listen to a book on tape. Back then we had cassette tapes. And I remember listening to Conversations with God, Book 1, Neil Donald Walsh. And it was so profound at that time in my life. It changed everything. And just by loving where I was with my work and having my schedule, I created my schedule. I didn't answer to anybody except whoever I was working and helping. And they were all lovely people. I started to really love it. And as I loved it, everything came to fruition. I was invited to speak at a psychology class at a local college. And from that, the instructor invited me to his office to rent a space in his office in Santa Monica. And I would go and speak to his class once or twice a year. And I worked in his therapy office for 7 or 8 years. And that's when I developed this program, but it was a much longer way of working with people. And through all of the experience I've had in doing this for so many years, I realized I wanted a more concise program to offer people from all the different things I've learned. And healing and living the life you want really doesn't have to be that difficult. It is a commitment to yourself and to your passion, and the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, supports you in that. You don't choose your dream chooses you. And so it's within you, and it's really just getting through all of the old patterns, the old hurts, the old wounds, the old programming, and clearing it out and really looking at what does bring you joy and living it. And it's different for everyone. My husband loves fixing things. boats, cars, trucks, bikes, anything and everything. And he's fixed so many of my friends' cars. It's unbelievable. But that's his passion. He loves it. He doesn't have to work. He doesn't have to do it, but he goes off every morning at 7 o'clock and he works all day doing that and seeing his friends and going to lunch. But that's his joy. And this is mine. So I also want to just remind you that self-love is different than self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from achieving things. It comes from our ego. And often we have to think that we're being good to achieve something or be a certain way. And that's self-esteem. But self-love is loving yourself all the time, whether you feel you've made a mistake or not. And so that's really sort of the gist of this program, is living with passion and joy. So we'll go to the first slide. Ashley, if you can put the first slide up. I'm so excited that you're here. So when you create joy, you create freedom, and you fill your life with thoughts of what you want to create. And ultimately, living in joy is our purpose. It's why we're here on the planet. And it's important to look at how you spend your time, because how you spend your time is how you spend your life. And the other thing I want you to be aware of is happiness is external. Happiness is created from things that people do for us, or things we've accomplished, or things in the external part of us. But joy comes from the inside. And when you're living with passion, you can't help but be joyful. And that permeates everywhere you go and everything you do. It's important that you don't allow outside stresses to run your life. And so the first thing I want us to do is to just take a minute, just sigh and let your breath out, and see your footprints going down to the center of Mother Earth. And this space is yours. You're meant to be here. And see your feet connected to the center of Mother Earth, and her energy coming up through your feet, coming into your body, and going all the way out of the top of your head. And then I want you to see a stream of light coming from Source, God, whatever you want to name it. It doesn't have an ego. Coming from the highest dimension and pouring light all the way down through your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, and filling your whole body with light so that you're grounded and you're connected to the light. Good. So to achieve balance, it's important to set your attentions. And if you'd like to have more balance and security in your life, it's a good idea to spend at least 10 minutes in complete silence every day, just to be with you, not the external pressures. And for everybody, it's different, the time of day that works. For me, if I get up at 5 o'clock, it's still quiet in the house and I can do that. And you'll find that during this quiet time, things will come to you. Your intuition will be very, very active, and you'll know more. Things come to me that simplify my life so much when I'm in that quiet space. But if I use my mind and try and think problems through, it doesn't work. It's usually by just being quiet. And consciously decide that you want to be more joyful, and how that is going to change your life. So one of the first things, which isn't written down, is it's important to have a clear space, have quiet time to do this, light a candle, and just sit quietly with yourself. Don't be distracted. If at all possible, it's a good idea to have some healthy boundaries, and to have some healthy boundaries with yourself on your time and your energy, so that you can put everything you've got into this and open your heart to yourself. As I said before, just having gratitude for where you are now is going to help you to shift into bringing in more passion and more aliveness and the things that you really, really want to enjoy. And you get a sense of inner freedom from doing that. The other thing is not to live by other people's rules, and not to live by other people's time frame on what they think you should be doing. This is your life. You come in it usually alone, unless you are a multiple birth, but you come in this world alone and you go out alone. And so really it's important to create your own life the way you want it to be. And there's many, many life paths, and there's many dramas that will keep you distracted. But as you center and create the life you want, then those things don't affect you as much. This class will help you in any area of your life, because the spiritual laws work in everything. And whether it's your career, your family, bringing in a divine mate, or creating a better relationship, this class will help you to create that. And sometimes just making one small change will bring about a lot of changes, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so as you start to make these changes, you need to have some self-discipline to give yourself the time and the space for yourself, and then you can create more and more and more. It's really learning to live your soul purpose and your soul passion. It is your soul purpose, SOUL, and your soul purpose, SOLE, is to live with passion. And the universe always says yes, as I told you. It's important to remember that we do have ascended masters, we do have guides, we do have people who've gone before us, maybe a grandmother, grandfather. We have people on the other dimensions, who are there to assist us. And we also have free will. And the angels, ascended masters, our family members who passed before, they cannot interfere in our lives unless we ask them. And if you ask for help, they will give it. I remember years ago, I was going through a difficult time with my daughter, and I wanted her to go to a good school. And the school in our area, I just moved there, wasn't a good school, and I didn't know what to do. And so I prayed and I asked for help. And I'd been living in my condo about 3 months, and I'd always gone to the grocery store to the left. And that next morning, I decided, oh, I'm going to go to the right. And as I drove to the right, I drove by a Catholic school, which was 5 minutes from my condo. They were having applications for the following year. This was in March, for the next semester. And my prayers were answered. I wrote down the number. I called the school. I said, we're not Catholic. Can my daughter come? And they said, yes, we'd love to have her. And she attended that school. I didn't know how to achieve that. I didn't know what to do. But by asking for help from the angels, my prayers were answered. They cannot answer your prayers unless you ask them because of free will. So it's important to realize that you're not on this path alone and that you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to decide what you want, and it's the divine job to bring it to you. It's important also to have compassion for yourself, because we often have more compassion for other people than ourselves. And the more compassionate you are with yourself, the quicker and easier it is to achieve the things that you desire. It's also important to know you can't change anyone else, although I'm sure we've all wanted to do that. But as you shift and change with yourself, you actually have much more compassion for those around you. The more you dislike something, the more you bring it up. You bring it into your environment, because just by your judgment on it, you bring it to you. Just by your thoughts. Your thoughts are connected to your will, and wherever you put your thoughts, you put your will. And so that's why I'm doing this class, to help you to bring the things that you do desire. And it's important to release the past by loving it, and not beating yourself up for the mistakes you made. I work with this beautiful healer, and he's worked with people in prison who have been, he worked with one guy who was in prison for manslaughter, or no, for murder. He was a drug addict and he had cancer, and he worked with him and he got all the healing that he needed, and he recovered from the cancer within 2 or 3 days. And God doesn't judge us on what we've done. We judge ourselves and we judge other people. And the thing about judgment is, when we have judgment against someone else, we actually create a portal and we take on that energy. And so, as much as possible, let go of judgment of yourself and other people. You are so, so powerful. And I'm here to show you how to access that power and to create the things that you desire. It really is very, very simple. It just seems difficult because we use our mind and not our hearts. And this work really does have to come from your heart. It's important to let go of guilt, shame, wanting validation from other people. And it's also important not to try and manipulate situations, not to try and control things. That was a big pattern for me, especially when I first came to California from England. I felt so out of control. It was such a different environment and such a different way of living that I felt like I had to control everything to feel safe. And over the years, I've had to just let go of all of that control. Having passion and having drive and propelling myself forward is different than trying to control something. Everything is about your intention. And it's not so much what you do, it's why you do what you do. And so that's where the self-reflection comes in, and where you have to look at, why am I doing this? Does this serve me? Does this fit my North Star of where I want to be? And if it doesn't, don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy, because where you put your time, you put your energy, and where you put your time and energy, you put your life. No matter where you go, there you are. And it doesn't matter if you move to another country or change jobs, unless you do the work, you're going to have the same experience. I remember a story, and it was somebody miserable, moving to a new town. And he asked someone in the town, and he was a miserable person, and he had moved because he was so miserable where he lived. And so he asked this man, how are the people here? And he goes, what was it like where you came from? He goes, oh, they were all a bunch of misers. They weren't nice people. And he goes, what's it like here? And he goes, much the same. Another guy comes along and he's just moved and he's on fire and living his passion. And he meets the same man and he goes, I've just moved here. What's it like here? And he goes, what was it like where you were from? And the guy goes, oh, it was great. Everybody was really loving, really friendly. And I had a great life. I moved here for my job. What's it like? And he goes, much the same. No matter where you go, there you are. And so this is to help you to get to where you want to be. And the past does not equal the future. So one of the techniques I want to share with you is a very effective and powerful tool, and you can use it whenever you want. And it doesn't require you to actually physically burn the paper. Just by the process of seeing it burn will fire transmute, fire transmute. So just visualizing it burning will clear the energy from you. So what I want you to do is to write a list, as long as you need it to be, of all the people who've hurt you, who've made you angry, who have upset you, or if somebody has done something specific and you can name that situation, that emotion that you're feeling, you can write that down too. You can go all the way back to when you were a child. I remember the first time I did it, I wrote down my school teacher, who was always she was always favoring the boys. And I remember in elementary school, she gave me a book on raising children. I was 11. And she had such a negative opinion of women and what they could achieve. I had to write her on my list. And so you write the list as long as it needs to be. And especially in relationships that have changed, old love relationships, friendships, anything like that. It can be one sentence and it can be 10 pages. And so I'm gonna just show you how to do this. And then when we break after module 1, I want you to do this technique, and it really, really works. So when you have written your list, I want you to crumple the paper and put it in front of you, as if you've got a fire in front of you. If you have a fireplace, you can burn it in the fireplace. But most places, especially in California, we don't have fireplaces. And so crumple it up, put it in front of you, and then you're going to close your eyes and you're going to visualize lighting a match and setting fire to the paper. And as the paper burns, you'll see the flames. You keep your eyes closed, you see the flames, and you stand as close to the flames as you can visualize. And you can even sit down. You can turn around if you want, and just visualize the flames burning all of this energy that you've been holding in your energy field, in your aura. And just stay with your eyes closed until there's nothing left but ash in your mind. And then when you've done that, you can open your eyes. And then all of that energy has been dissipated by the flames. You can shred the paper afterwards. You can throw it away. It has no energy once you have done this process. And then you've got an empty space in your energy field, in your aura. And so you visualize the flame in your heart, which is always burning. Your heart is your connection to your soul. You visualize this violet, golden flame burning in your heart and burning through your whole energy field. so that it's all light. And then you see a beautiful, like silver shield around you so that only the positive things can get in. And that's it. It's that simple. And you can use this technique whenever you want. At the end of the day, if you have an issue with somebody at work, it's just a helpful, simple tool and it works. And so I'm happy to share that with you. And I have got some worksheets for you to do on your own. And if you can complete those before moving on to module 2, it's important. So thank you. That completes module 1. And now you're going to do the homework for module 1. And then we will see you again in module 2.